me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You're safe now. I've got you.
The neighbor's face was sheet white when she grabbed my arm outside my daughter's apartment. "Please, you need to wait," she said, her voice shaking. "Don't go in there yet." I pulled away from her grip. "Lady, I don't know who you are, but I'm visiting my daughter." "I'm Diane. I live next door. Your wife arrived 2 hours ago." She glanced at the closed door of apartment 4B, then back at me. "I called the police. They're coming. You need to wait." My stomach dropped. "Why would you call the police? What's happening?" Before she could answer, I heard it. Raised voices from inside the apartment. My wife's voice, high and angry. Then my daughter's, pleading. And a man's voice I didn't recognize, low and threatening. That wasn't my son-in-law, Derek. Derek had a soft voice, always polite, maybe too polite. "Who's in there?" I demanded. Diane's eyes filled with tears. "I'm so sorry. I should have told someone sooner. I should have done something weeks ago, but I wasn't sure, and I didn't want to interfere. But then your wife showed up today, and I heard everything through the walls, and I knew I had to. Tell me what's happening right now. Your daughter's been living with another man, not Derek. Derek moved out 2 months ago. This new guy, Tyler, he's been staying there, and he's not good to her. I've heard things, arguments, things breaking, your daughter crying." The world tilted. My daughter Melissa was 26, married for 3 years. She and Derek had seemed happy, not perfect, but solid. We'd had dinner with them just last month. She'd said nothing about problems. "Where's Derek now?" I asked. "I don't know. He just left one day with suitcases. She told me they were separating, that it was mutual. Then this Tyler moved in the same week." A crash from inside the apartment. Something glass shattering. My wife screamed. I didn't wait anymore. I tried the door, locked. I pounded on it hard. "Melissa! Karen! Open this door!" The voices inside went quiet. "Melissa! It's Dad. Open up right now." Footsteps. The lock clicked. The door opened a crack, and Melissa's face appeared. She looked terrible. Dark circles under her eyes, hair unwashed, wearing sweatpants and an oversized shirt. This wasn't my daughter. This was someone wearing her face. "Dad, what are you doing here? Your mom's in there. Let me in." "Now's not a good time." I pushed the door open before she could stop me. The apartment was a disaster. Clothes everywhere, dishes piled in the sink, empty beer bottles on every surface. The place smelled like cigarettes and something worse, something sour and unwashed. My wife Karen stood in the middle of the living room, her purse clutched to her chest like a shield. Across from her stood a man in his 30s, tattoos covering both arms, wearing a stained tank top and jeans. His face was flushed red with anger. "Who the hell are you?" he said when he saw me. "I'm Melissa's father." "Who the hell are you?" "Tyler. I live here." "Not anymore, you don't." I looked at my daughter. "Melissa, get your things. You're coming home with us." "Dad, you can't just—" "Watch me. Karen, help her pack." Tyler stepped forward. "Nobody's going anywhere. This is my place, too. I pay half the rent." "You pay nothing," Diane's voice came from behind me. She'd followed me in. "I hear everything through these walls. You've been living off Melissa for months. You don't work. You don't help. You just drink and yell and break things. Mind your own business, you nosy—" "Watch your mouth," I said. My hands were clenched into fists. I'm 52 years old, not in the shape I used to be, but I was ready to throw down with this punk if needed. Sirens outside, getting closer. Tyler's eyes darted to the window. "Did you call the cops?" "I did," Diane said, "because I've heard him threatening Melissa. I've heard him hitting her. I should have called weeks ago." "He never hit me," Melissa said quickly, too quickly. I looked at her closely. She wouldn't meet my eyes. "Show me your arms." "Dad, show me." She pulled up her sleeves slowly. Bruises, purple and yellow, in various stages of healing. Finger marks on her wrists. A darker bruise on her upper arm, hand-shaped. The rage that filled me was white-hot and total. I started toward Tyler. Karen grabbed my arm. "Don't. The police are here. Let them handle it." Tyler backed toward the bedroom. "This is bull. Those bruises are from nothing. She bruises easy. Tell them, babe." "Don't you dare call her that," Karen said. Her voice was steel. Heavy footsteps on the stairs. 2 officers appeared in the doorway. "Someone called about a disturbance?" Diane stepped forward immediately. "I did. That man Tyler, he's been abusing my neighbor Melissa. I've witnessed it multiple times. I have recordings on my phone from when things got loud, and you can see the bruises on her arms." The older officer, a woman in her 40s with sharp eyes, looked at Melissa. "Ma'am, is that true? Has this man hurt you?" Melissa hesitated. I saw the war in her eyes. Fear, shame, confusion. Tell them, I said quietly. "Tell them the truth, honey." "He gets angry sometimes," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "We argue. Things get heated." "Has he put his hands on you?" the officer asked. A long silence. Then finally, "Yes." The officer nodded to her partner. "Sir, we need you to come with us." "This is ridiculous," Tyler said. "She's lying. Her crazy parents just showed up trying to control her life, and now everyone's ganging up on me." "Sir, I can see the bruises from here," the officer said. "We're taking you in for questioning. You can come peacefully or in handcuffs. I want a lawyer." "You'll get one. Let's go." They led him out. He shot Melissa a look that made my hair stand on end. "You're going to regret this," he said. "That's a threat," the female officer said. "Add that to the report." When they were gone, the apartment fell silent except for Diane's quiet crying. "I'm so sorry," she kept saying. "I should have done something sooner." I turned to my daughter. She stood there shaking, arms wrapped around herself. "How long?" I asked. "Dad, how long has this been happening?" "Derek and I split up in August. Tyler moved in September." It was now late October. "Why didn't you tell us?" "Because I knew you'd react like this. I knew you'd judge me." "Judge you? Melissa, you're being abused. That's not something to be ashamed of." "I'm not being abused. It's not like that. Tyler's just stressed. He's looking for work. He's had a hard life." Karen moved closer. "Honey, none of that is an excuse for putting his hands on you. You don't understand. I love him." The words hit me like a punch. "You love him? You've known him 2 months and he's already beating you." "He doesn't beat me. It's not like that." "Then what is it like? Explain it to me. Make me understand how those bruises are okay." She couldn't. She just stood there, tears running down her face, looking lost. "Pack your things," I said gently. "You're coming home." "I can't leave. This is my apartment." "Then we'll stay here tonight and figure out the next steps tomorrow, but you're not staying here alone." "I'm 26 years old. You can't make me—" "You're right. I can't make you do anything. But I'm asking. Please, come home. At least for tonight. Let us help you." She looked around the trashed apartment, at the broken glass on the floor, at the holes punched in the walls that I was just now noticing. "Okay," she whispered. "Just for tonight." We got Melissa out of that apartment and back to our house by midnight. She barely spoke the whole drive. Karen sat in the back seat with her, holding her hand. Once home, Karen set Melissa up in her old bedroom while I made phone calls. First to a lawyer I knew who specialized in family law, then to a locksmith to change the locks on Melissa's apartment door first thing in the morning, then to Derek's parents. Derek's mother answered on the third ring. "Hello?" "Janet, it's Tom. I need Derek's number." "Tom, it's late." "I know. This is important. It's about Melissa." A pause. "Is she okay?" "No, she's not. Can I have his number, please?" She gave it to me. I called immediately. Derek answered, sounding groggy. "Hello?" "Derek, it's Tom, Melissa's father." "Mr. Patterson, is everything okay?" "Can we meet tomorrow? I need to talk to you about what happened between you and Melissa." Another pause, longer this time. "She told you?" "Told me what? I know you separated. I need to know why." "I can't, Mr. Patterson. I signed papers. Legally, I can't discuss it." That stopped me. "What kind of papers?" "A non-disclosure agreement, as part of the separation. If I violate it, I could be sued." "Who made you sign an NDA?" "I really can't say anything. I'm sorry. I wish I could help." "Derek, Melissa's in trouble. There's a guy, Tyler, and he's been hitting her." Silence. Then Derek's voice, tight with controlled anger. "Is she safe right now?" "She's here with us. The police took Tyler away tonight." "Good. Keep her away from him. That guy is dangerous." "You know him?" "I can't say more. I'm sorry. But please, keep Melissa safe. Don't let her go back to him." He hung up. I sat there staring at my phone. An NDA? What kind of separation required a non-disclosure agreement? Karen found me still sitting there 20 minutes later. "She's asleep," she said. "Finally," she cried herself out. "Derek signed an NDA," I told her. "As part of their separation. He can't talk about what happened." "That doesn't make sense." "No, it doesn't." I looked at my wife. "Something's very wrong here. This is bigger than we thought." "What do we do?" "Tomorrow we start digging, and we don't stop until we know everything." The lawyer, Paul Richmond, met with us at 9 the next morning. Melissa was still sleeping. Karen stayed with her while I went to his office downtown. Paul was in his 60s, sharp as a tack, with a reputation for being ruthless when needed. I'd worked with him years ago on a business contract dispute. He owed me a favor. "Talk to me," he said once we were seated in his office. I told him everything. The apartment, Tyler, the bruises, Derek's NDA. Paul took notes, his expression darkening as I spoke. An NDA in a separation is unusual, but not unheard of. Usually it's to protect financial information or to prevent one party from bad-mouthing the other publicly. Can we get around it? Get Derek to talk to us? Not without risking him legally, but I can pull court records. If they filed for legal separation, there will be documents. Give me a few hours. I spent those hours at Melissa's apartment with a locksmith, changing all the locks. Diane came over while I was there. "How is she?" she asked. Shaken, confused, defending the guy who hurt her. That's common. I used to volunteer at a domestic violence shelter. Victims often protect their abusers. The psychology is complicated. I just don't understand how this happened. She was always so smart, so independent. Abusers are good at finding vulnerabilities. They don't start with violence. They start with charm, with love bombing, with creating dependency. By the time the abuse starts, the victim's already isolated and their self-worth is destroyed. I finished with the locksmith and headed back to Paul's office. He was waiting with a file folder. "Found something," he said. He looked grim. "What?" Derek and Melissa's separation wasn't standard. It was initiated by Melissa, and it was fast. Filed in early August, finalized by mid-August. That's extremely quick. Usually these things take months. Why so fast? Because Derek agreed to everything she wanted without contest. She got the apartment, most of their joint assets, and he agreed to pay spousal support for 2 years. Spousal support? They were only married 3 years. Exactly. He had no legal obligation, but he agreed to it anyway. In exchange, he made her sign the NDA, and there's a clause here that's interesting. He pointed to a section of the document. It says neither party can discuss the circumstances surrounding the separation or the reasons for it. Violation results in financial penalties. What circumstances could possibly require that level of secrecy? That's what I wondered, so I dug deeper. Derek filed a police report in July, right before the separation was filed. My heart rate picked up. A report about what? About Tyler Morrison. Turns out he has a record. Assault, domestic violence against a previous girlfriend, drug possession. The police report Derek filed was for harassment and stalking. Tyler was stalking Derek? Not Derek. Melissa. According to the report, Tyler had been showing up at Melissa's workplace, calling her constantly, leaving notes on their car. Derek reported it because Melissa wouldn't. The pieces started clicking together in my head, forming a picture I didn't want to see. She was having an affair. That would be my guess. And when Derek found out, instead of fighting her on the divorce, he just wanted out. Fast. The NDA was probably to protect his reputation and maybe hers too. Why would he protect her reputation if she cheated on him? Because Derek's a decent guy? Because he still cared about her even though she hurt him? People do strange things when they're in pain. I sat back in my chair. My daughter had cheated on her husband with an abuser and then left Derek for him. God, what was she thinking? She probably wasn't. People make terrible decisions when they are infatuated. And Tyler's type, they're good at manipulation. He probably convinced her Derek was the problem, that she deserved better, that he was her soulmate or some garbage. What do I do now? You keep her away from Tyler. He's out on bail by now, I'd bet. The charges probably won't stick. Domestic violence cases are hard to prove, especially if the victim won't cooperate. And based on what you told me, Melissa's already defending him. She said she loves him. That's the trauma bond talking. Look, I'm going to be straight with you. This is going to get worse before it gets better. Tyler's not going to just disappear. He'll come after her, try to get her back, make promises to change, and there's a decent chance she'll go back to him. Over my dead body. You can't lock her up. She's an adult. The best you can do is be there, keep her safe as much as possible, and wait for her to see the truth. I left Paul's office with more information, but less hope. When I got home, Melissa was awake, sitting at the kitchen table with Karen. She looked up when I walked in. "The locks are changed," I said. "Tyler can't get into your apartment." "You had no right to do that." "Yes, I did. You're on the lease? I made sure of it, and I'm not letting that man anywhere near your home." "He'll be furious." "Good. Let him be furious somewhere else." "Dad, you don't understand. Tyler needs me. He's been through so much. His childhood was awful. His ex destroyed his confidence. I'm helping him get back on his feet. I pulled out a chair and sat across from her. Melissa, I know about the police report. Derek filed it in July. Tyler was stalking you. Her face went pale. That was a misunderstanding. Was it? Or was Derek trying to protect you from a dangerous man? Derek didn't understand our connection. Tyler and I, we have something special. You had something special with Derek, too. You were married. You took vows. I know, and I feel terrible about that. But Derek and I weren't right for each other. I stayed too long out of obligation. Tyler showed me what real passion feels like. Real passion doesn't leave bruises. She stood up abruptly. You're not listening. You're just judging me like I knew you would. I'm going back to my apartment. Not yet, Karen said. Melissa, please. Stay a few more days. Let things calm down. Things are calm. Tyler probably doesn't even know where I am. He's probably worried sick. He knows exactly where you are, I said. And if he's smart, he'll stay away. She wasn't listening. I could see it in her eyes. She'd already made up her mind. I need to go. Thank you for the help last night, but I'm fine now. You're not fine. I'm an adult. You can't keep me here. She was right. Legally, morally, I had no grounds to force her to stay. So I watched my daughter walk out the door, get into her car, and drive away. Karen cried. I held her and tried to find words of comfort, but I had none. Our daughter was going back to her abuser, and there was nothing we could do to stop her. Tyler showed up at our house 2 days later. I was in the garage working on an old motorcycle I'd been restoring when I heard the doorbell. Karen answered it. Through the open garage door, I heard his voice. I need to talk to Melissa. Is she here? She's not, Karen said. Her voice was cold. And you're not welcome here. Look, I know you think I'm some kind of monster, but you don't know the whole story. Melissa and I love each other. Those bruises, that was just an accident. Things got heated during an argument. I would never intentionally hurt her. You need to leave. Just tell her I came by. Tell her I'm sorry. Tell her I'm getting help. I enrolled in anger management classes. I'm seeing a therapist. I'm doing everything I can to be better for her. I walked out of the garage, wiping grease from my hands. Tyler saw me and took a step back. I told you to leave, I said. I just want to talk to Melissa. She's not here, and if she was, I wouldn't let you near her. You can't keep us apart. She loves me. What she feels for you isn't love. It's fear disguised as attachment. You've manipulated her, isolated her, and beaten her. That's not love. You don't know anything about us. I know you have a record, assault, domestic violence. You've done this before. His jaw tightened. People change. I made mistakes when I was younger. You're making them now. Get off my property. Or what? You'll call the cops? Go ahead. I haven't done anything illegal. I'm just talking. You violated a restraining order. There is no restraining order. Melissa never filed one, because she knows the truth. She knows I love her. He was right. Melissa hadn't filed for a restraining order. Paul had suggested it, but Melissa refused. She said it would be an overreaction. If I see you here again, I will call the police, I said, and I'll make sure they know about every violation of your parole. I'm not on parole. Yet. But with your record, any new charges will land you back in jail. Remember that. He stared at me for a long moment, then smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Tell Melissa I stopped by. Tell her I miss her. He turned and walked to his car, an old sedan with a cracked windshield. He drove away slowly, like he had all the time in the world. Karen was shaking when I came back inside. He's not going to leave her alone. No, he's not. What do? We document everything. Every time he shows up, every call, every text. We build a case. And in the meantime, we pray Melissa wakes up before it's too late. But Melissa wasn't waking up. She'd gone back to her apartment, back to Tyler. When we called, she didn't answer. When we showed up at her door, she wouldn't let us in. I'm fine, she said through the door. Please just leave me alone. Melissa, we're worried about you. There's nothing to worry about. Tyler and I worked things out. He's getting help. Everything's going to be okay. It wasn't okay. Diane called me a week later, her voice urgent. He's back. Tyler's back in the apartment. I hear him all the time now. And they're fighting again. Has he hurt her? I don't know. I don't hear crying anymore, just arguing. But Mr. Patterson, there's something else. There are other men coming around. What do you mean? Strange men, different ones. They show up late at night, stay for an hour or two, then leave. I think Tyler might be dealing drugs. It made my hair stand on end. Are you sure? I'm not positive, but it's suspicious. The same pattern over and over. Knock on the door, they go in, they leave an hour later. Sometimes they leave with backpacks or bags they didn't arrive with. Have you called the police? And tell them what? That I hear people visiting my neighbor? They'll think I'm paranoid. She was right. Without proof, the police wouldn't do anything. Keep watching. Let me know if anything else happens. I will. But Mr. Patterson, I'm scared for her. Whatever's going on in there, it's not good. I called Paul again. Tyler might be dealing drugs out of Melissa's apartment. That complicates things. If the police raid the place and find drugs, Melissa could be charged too, even if they're Tyler's. She could go to jail? If she knew about the drugs, if she allowed him to deal from her apartment, yes, she could be considered an accomplice. We have to get her out of there. She has to want to get out. You can't force this, Tom. I know you want to, but legally you're tied. I felt helpless. My daughter was living with a drug dealer who beat her, and I couldn't do anything about it. Then Derek called me. Mr. Patterson, I heard Tyler's back with Melissa. How did you hear that? I still have friends in her social circle. Word travels. I need to tell you something, but you have to promise it stays between us. If Melissa finds out I violated the NDA, I could lose everything. I promise. Tyler isn't just an abuser. He's connected. His uncle is Vincent Morrison, runs a criminal organization in the city. Not huge, but significant. Drugs, illegal gambling, some protection rackets. Tyler's been working for him on and off for years. Jesus Christ. When I found out Melissa was seeing him, I tried to warn her. That's when things got bad. Tyler started threatening me. Said if I interfered, his uncle would make me disappear. I didn't believe him at first, but then my car was vandalized. My apartment was broken into. Nothing taken, just trashed. That's when I knew I had to get out. Why didn't you go to the police? I did. They said without proof linking Tyler to the vandalism, they couldn't help. And when I mentioned Vincent Morrison, they told me to be careful, that the Morrison family was dangerous. One detective actually advised me to leave town. So you left Melissa? I didn't want to. God, I loved her. But she wouldn't listen. She was completely under Tyler's spell, and I was terrified. So yes, I left. I got the separation agreement done as fast as possible, signed the NDA, and got out. I moved 2 hours away, changed jobs, started over. You left her with those people. I know. His voice broke. I know, and I hate myself for it. But Mr. Patterson, they would have killed me. I really believe that. And Melissa made her choice. She chose him over me. She didn't know what she was choosing. Maybe not. But I couldn't save her. Maybe you can. That's why I'm telling you this. But you have to be careful. Vincent Morrison doesn't play games. If he thinks you're a threat to his operation or to Tyler, he'll come after you. After Derek hung up, I sat in my car in the driveway for an hour, trying to process everything. My daughter wasn't just dating an abuser. She was involved with organized crime. Karen saw my face when I finally came inside. What happened? I told her everything. She listened without interrupting, her face getting paler with each word. We have to call the FBI, she said when I finished. And tell them what? Our daughter's boyfriend might be dealing drugs. They'll need evidence. Then we get evidence. How? We can't get into her apartment. We can't even talk to her. We find another way. Karen's voice was steel. I'd seen her angry before, but this was different. This was a mother protecting her child. We hire a private investigator. We gather evidence. We build a case that even Melissa can't deny. And then we take down Tyler and this Vincent Morrison and everyone else who's putting our daughter in danger. That's dangerous. I don't care. Do you? I looked at my wife, saw the determination in her eyes, and felt something shift inside me. She was right. We'd been reactive, defensive. It was time to go on offense. No, I said. I don't care. Let's do it. The private investigator's name was Clara Lynn. Paul recommended her. She was in her 40s, former police detective, now ran her own investigation firm. We met her in her office the next morning. I need surveillance on Tyler Morrison, I told her. Everything. Where he goes, who he meets, what he's doing. I need proof he's dealing drugs out of my daughter's apartment. Clara took notes. How long has your daughter been involved with him? Since August. Almost 3 months now. And she's aware you're hiring me? No, and she can't know. She'll warn him. Understood. I'll need photos of both of them, the apartment address, Tyler's vehicle information if you have it. I provided everything. Clara studied the information, then looked up at me. You should know, if Tyler's connected to Vincent Morrison, like you say, this could get complicated. Morrison's people are good at spotting surveillance. Can you do it or not? I can do it, but it'll cost more and it'll take longer. I'll need to be careful. I don't care about the cost. I need results. You'll get them. Give me 2 weeks. Those 2 weeks were the longest of my life. Every day I waited for Clara's call. Every night I lay awake wondering if Melissa was okay, if Tyler had hurt her again, if the situation was escalating. Karen threw herself into research. She found support groups for families of domestic violence victims. She learned about the cycle of abuse, about trauma bonding, about all the psychological mechanisms that kept victims trapped. She made contact with a woman named Patricia who'd escaped an abusive relationship and now helped others. Patricia said the average victim tries to leave 7 times before they finally get out, Karen told me. 7 times. They go back over and over because the abuser promises to change, because they are financially dependent, because they're afraid, because they still love the person beneath the abuse. Melissa's only left once, which means we might be doing this for a while. I can't watch her go through this 6 more times. We won't have to, because we're going to make sure Tyler can't hurt her anymore. Clara called on day 13. I have something. Meet me at my office. We drove there immediately. Clara had photos spread across her desk. Tyler meeting with various men outside Melissa's apartment building. Tyler going into a warehouse across town. Tyler handing packages to people who handed him cash. He's dealing, Clara said. No question. Small-time stuff, mostly pills. Oxycodone, probably. He's got a steady stream of customers, and he's moving product out of your daughter's apartment at least twice a week. Can we take this to the police? Yes, but there's a complication. She pulled out another photo. Recognize him? The man in the photo was in his 50s, heavy-set, wearing expensive clothes. He was getting into a BMW outside the warehouse. No, who is he? Vincent Morrison, Tyler's uncle. And here's where it gets interesting. She pulled up another photo on her computer. Vincent Morrison shaking hands with a man in a suit outside City Hall. That's Councilman Richard Burke. He's on the Police Oversight Committee. Meaning? Meaning Vincent Morrison has political connections. Which explains why Tyler's been able to operate openly. He's protected. My hands clenched into fists. So we can't go to the police. I didn't say that. We just have to be smart about who we go to. I have a contact in the state police. Detective Brennan. He's clean, doesn't answer to local politics. If we give him this evidence, he can start a real investigation. Do it. There's one more thing. Clara's expression turned grim. I followed Melissa yesterday. She went to a clinic downtown, the kind that provides free medical care, no questions asked. My stomach dropped. Why? I don't know for sure, but based on her body language, the way she walked, I'd say she was in pain, and when she came out, she had bandages on her wrists. Karen made a sound like she'd been punched. He's hurting her again. I couldn't get close enough to confirm, but that would be my assessment. I stood up. I'm getting her out of there today. Wait, Clara said. If you go in there and force her out, Tyler will know something's up. He'll either disappear or escalate. Either way, we lose our chance to take him down. I don't care about taking him down. I care about my daughter. If you want her safe long term, Tyler needs to be in prison. Otherwise, he'll just find her again. Let me give this evidence to Detective Brennan. Let him build a case. It'll take a few more days, maybe a week. Then they'll raid the apartment, arrest Tyler, and your daughter will be safe. And if something happens to her in that week, I'll have people watching the apartment 24/7. If anything bad goes down, we'll know immediately and we'll intervene. I looked at Karen. She was crying silently. What do you think? I think I want Tyler in prison where he can never hurt her again, she said. And if that means waiting a few more days, then that's what we do. It went against every instinct I had, but she was right. We'd come this far. We needed to see it through. Okay, I told Clara. Contact your detective, but if anything happens to Melissa before they move, anything at all, I'm going in. Understood. Detective Brennan moved faster than I expected. Within 3 days, he had a warrant. Within 5 days, he had a team ready. On day 6, he called me. We're going in tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I'm telling you as a courtesy, but you need to stay away. Let us handle this. I want to be there. Absolutely not. This is a police operation. Civilians stay back. She's my daughter. Which is exactly why you need to stay back. Let us do our jobs, Mr. Patterson. We'll get your daughter out safely. I didn't promise anything. The next morning at 5:30, Karen and I parked down the street from Melissa's apartment building. We watched as the police assembled. 8 officers, tactical gear, moving into position. At exactly 6 a.m., they hit the door. We heard shouting. Commands to get down, to show hands. More shouting, then a single gunshot. Karen screamed. I was out of the car before I realized I was moving, running toward the building. An officer blocked me. "Sir, you need to stay back. My daughter's in there. The scene isn't secure. Stay back." More officers came out leading people in handcuffs. Tyler fighting every step. 2 other men I didn't recognize, and then Melissa. She wasn't in handcuffs, but she was being led out by a female officer. She looked dazed, confused. When she saw me, something in her face crumpled. "Melissa!" I pushed past the officer holding me back and ran to her. She collapsed into my arms, sobbing. "Daddy, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." I held her while she cried, while the police secured the scene, while Tyler screamed obscenities from the back of a patrol car. I held her and promised myself I'd never let anyone hurt her again. Detective Brennan approached us. "Mr. Patterson, your daughter's not under arrest. She cooperated immediately, told us where everything was. We found 2 kilos of pills, $15,000 in cash, and an illegal firearm. All belonged to Tyler. She's clean." "What was the gunshot?" Tyler tried to grab an officer's weapon. The officer discharged his firearm into the ceiling as a warning. Nobody was hurt. Thank God. "We'll need her to make a formal statement. She's agreed to testify against Tyler. With her testimony plus the evidence we found, he's looking at 10 to 15 years minimum." Melissa was still shaking in my arms. "I didn't know about all of it," she said. "I knew he was selling pills, but I didn't know how much. I didn't know about the gun. He kept it hidden." "It's okay," I told her. "It's over now." But it wasn't over. Tyler made bail 3 days later. I found out when Detective Brennan called me, his voice tight with frustration. Vincent Morrison posted it. $500,000, like it was nothing. Tyler's out. He's supposed to be in jail. The judge set bail. We argued against it, but Tyler's lawyer claimed he wasn't a flight risk, that he has ties to the community. The judge bought it. What about Melissa? Is she safe? There's a no-contact order. If Tyler goes anywhere near her, he goes back to jail immediately. We've also increased patrols in your neighborhood and around her apartment. That's not enough. It's all we can legally do right now. The trial's in 6 weeks. Until then, keep Melissa close and keep me informed if anything suspicious happens. Melissa had moved back in with us after the arrest. She'd been quiet, withdrawn, barely eating. Karen got her into therapy immediately. The therapist said she was suffering from PTSD and severe depression. She needs time, the therapist told us. The trauma of an abusive relationship runs deep. Recovery isn't linear. She'll have good days and bad days. The bad days outnumbered the good ones. Melissa spent most of her time in her room. She jumped at loud noises. She had nightmares. Sometimes I'd hear her crying through the walls and feel helpless all over again. But slowly, very slowly, she started to come back to us. She started eating more, started talking more, started to look like herself again. 2 weeks after Tyler's release, she finally told us everything. We were sitting in the living room after dinner. Melissa had actually joined us for the meal, had actually engaged in conversation. It felt almost normal. "I need to tell you how it started," she said suddenly. "With Tyler. You deserve to know." "You don't have to," Karen said. "Yes, I do. Because I need you to understand. I need to understand." She took a deep breath. "I met Tyler at a bar. Derek and I had been fighting a lot. Nothing serious, just normal marriage stuff. But I was feeling frustrated. Tyler was there with friends. He was charming, funny, attentive. We talked all night. He made me feel special in a way I hadn't felt in a long time." "You were married," I said, trying to keep judgment out of my voice. I know it was wrong. But I told myself it was just flirting, just talking. Nothing physical happened that night. But he got my number. He started texting me, just friendly stuff at first, asking how my day was, telling me jokes, being supportive when I complained about work. She stared at her hands. It escalated slowly. The text became more personal. He started telling me I deserved better than Derek, that Derek didn't appreciate me. I believed him because I wanted to, because it felt good to have someone think I was amazing. "When did it turn physical?" Karen asked gently. "About a month after we met. Derek was out of town for work. Tyler invited me to dinner. I knew I shouldn't go, but I did. We drank wine. We kissed. I went home with him." She was crying now. "I cheated on Derek. I destroyed my marriage for a man I barely knew. What happened then? I tried to end it. I told Tyler it was a mistake, that I loved my husband. He didn't take it well. He started showing up at my work, calling me constantly, leaving notes on my car. He said if I didn't leave Derek, he'd tell Derek everything. He'd make sure Derek knew what kind of woman I really was. He blackmailed you. Yes, and I panicked. I thought if I just gave him what he wanted, if I left Derek and was with him, everything would be okay. So I filed for separation. Derek was devastated. He asked why, and I couldn't tell him the truth. I just said I didn't love him anymore. That's when Derek filed the police report. She nodded. He knew something was wrong. He saw Tyler following me, but by then I was so deep in Tyler's manipulation that I defended him. I told Derek he was being paranoid. Tyler convinced me that Derek was controlling, that he was trying to isolate me from real love, and Derek left. He had no choice. Tyler threatened him. I didn't know about that until later, but Tyler admitted it eventually. He said he'd made sure Derek understood what would happen if he interfered. She wiped her eyes. Derek tried to save me, and I let Tyler drive him away. When did the abuse start? Almost immediately after we moved in together. The first time was 2 weeks in. We had an argument about money. He'd been living off me, not contributing to rent or bills. When I brought it up, he grabbed my wrist so hard it left marks. Then he apologized, cried, said he was stressed about finding work, that he'd never do it again. But he did. Over and over. Each time he had an excuse. He was stressed, I'd provoked him, he'd been drinking, his medication was off, and each time he'd apologize and promise to change, and I'd believe him. Because the alternative was admitting I'd destroyed my marriage for an abuser. I couldn't face that. What about the drugs? I knew he sold pills. He said it was temporary, just until he got a real job. He said his uncle had connections that would get him something good soon. I didn't know the scale of it until the police showed me. 2 kilos, $15,000. I was living with a drug dealer, and I told myself it was okay. She looked at us with red, swollen eyes. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for lying, for shutting you out, for defending him. You tried to help me, and I pushed you away. I chose an abuser over my own family. Karen moved to sit beside her, pulling her into a hug. You were manipulated. You were abused. None of that is your fault. I cheated on Derek. That part is my fault. Yes, I said. That part is. But everything that came after, Tyler's abuse, his manipulation, his threats, none of that is on you. He's a predator. You were his victim. I don't feel like a victim. I feel like an idiot. You're not an idiot. You're human. You made a mistake, and a bad man took advantage of that mistake. Now we fix it. How do we fix this? You testify. You help put Tyler in prison, and then you rebuild your life. She nodded slowly. Okay, I can do that. Over the next few weeks, Melissa worked with the prosecutor preparing her testimony. She told them everything, the abuse, the threats, the drug dealing, Tyler's connections to Vincent Morrison. She was going to be the star witness. Detective Brennan called to tell us the case was solid. With Melissa's testimony and the physical evidence, this is a slam dunk. Tyler's going away for a long time. What about Vincent Morrison? That's trickier. We can prove Tyler was dealing, but proving Morrison's involvement is harder. He's insulated himself well, but we're working on it. This case might be the opening we need to bring down his whole operation. The trial was set for November 15th, 3 weeks away. We counted down the days, waiting for justice. Then, 2 weeks before the trial, Melissa disappeared. I woke up one morning and she was gone. Her bed was made, her room was empty, and there was no note. Her car was still in the driveway. Her phone went straight to voicemail. Karen was frantic. Where is she? Where did she go? I called Detective Brennan immediately. Melissa's missing. Missing how? She's not here. Her car's here, but she's gone. No note, no message, nothing. I'm sending officers to your house now. Don't touch anything in her room. The officers arrived within 20 minutes. They searched Melissa's room, dusted for prints, asked us 100 questions. When did we last see her? What was her state of mind? Had she mentioned going anywhere? Detective Brennan showed up an hour later. There's no sign of forced entry. No indication of a struggle. Either she left voluntarily or she knew whoever took her. Tyler, I said. It was Tyler. We're checking on his whereabouts now. If he violated the no-contact order, he'll be arrested immediately. They found Tyler at his uncle's house. He had an alibi. He'd been there all night with multiple witnesses. Video surveillance confirmed it. It wasn't him, Detective Brennan said. At least not directly. Then who? I don't know, but I'm going to find out. They put out an alert for Melissa. Her photo went to every police department in the state. They tracked her phone, but it was turned off. They checked her bank accounts. No activity. It was like she'd vanished into thin air. Karen was inconsolable. I held her while she cried, feeling my own panic rising. Where was Melissa? Who had her? Was she alive? The answer came 3 days later. A package arrived at our house. No return address. Inside was a phone, the cheap prepaid kind. A note said, "Turn it on." I did. Immediately it rang. "Hello, Mr. Patterson." The voice was male, older, calm. "Do you know who this is?" "Vincent Morrison." "Very good. I'm calling about your daughter." It made my hair stand on end. "Where is she?" "She's safe. For now. Whether she stays that way depends on you." "If you hurt her?" "I'm not going to hurt her. I'm a businessman, not a monster. But I do have a problem. Your daughter was supposed to testify against my nephew in 2 weeks. That testimony would send Tyler to prison and potentially expose my operations. I can't allow that to happen." "You kidnapped her to prevent her from testifying." "I prefer to think of it as protective custody. Melissa came with us willingly once we explained the situation." "Willingly? You threatened her." "We presented her with options. She made a choice. Now you have a choice. You can go to the police with this phone call. You can tell them I have your daughter. They'll start an investigation, which will take time. Time during which Melissa remains in my custody. Or you can be reasonable." "What do you want?" "I want your daughter to recant her testimony. I want her to tell the prosecutor she was mistaken, that she exaggerated Tyler's abuse, that the drugs weren't his. Without her testimony, the case falls apart. Tyler walks free." "And if I refuse?" "Then Melissa stays where she is, indefinitely. She'll be well cared for, I assure you, but you'll never see her again." "You can't keep her forever." "Can't I?" "Mr. Patterson, I run a very successful organization. I have resources you can't imagine. Making one young woman disappear permanently is trivial for me." My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. "Let me talk to her. Let me know she's okay." A pause. Then Melissa's voice. "Dad? Melissa, are you hurt?" "No, I'm okay. I'm sorry, Dad. They came to the house. They said if I didn't come with them, they'd hurt you and Mom. I couldn't let that happen." "Where are you?" "I don't know. Somewhere outside the city. They blindfolded me. Dad, I'm scared." "I know, baby. We're going to get you out." "No." Her voice was firm. "Don't go to the police. These people, they're serious. They'll kill me if you involve the police. Just do what they want. Let Tyler go. It's not worth dying over." "Melissa." Vincent Morrison's voice came back. "As you can hear, your daughter is unharmed. I'm a reasonable man, Mr. Patterson. I don't want violence. I just want to protect my family. Give me what I want, and you get your daughter back. It's simple." "How do I know you'll keep your word?" "You don't, but you don't have any other options. You have 24 hours to decide. I'll call this number tomorrow at this time. Have your answer ready." He hung up. I stood there holding the phone, my mind racing. Karen had been listening, her face white with terror. "What do we do?" she asked. I looked at her, at my wife who'd stood by me through everything, who'd fought beside me to save our daughter, and I made a decision. "We don't give in to him," I said. "But Melissa, Morrison's not going to kill her. She's leverage. The moment she recants her testimony, she becomes a liability. He'll kill her to tie up loose ends." "You don't know that." "Yes, I do. I've been researching Vincent Morrison since we found out about him. He's not a reasonable businessman. He's a criminal who's killed before. There's been 3 unsolved murders linked to his organization, all witnesses or rivals who became inconvenient. So what do we do?" I looked at the phone in my hand. "We find her. We have 24 hours. We use them." I called Clara Lynn immediately. "Vincent Morrison has Melissa. I need you to find her." "Tell me everything." I explained the call, the demands, the timeline. Clara listened without interrupting. "Okay," she said when I finished. "This is what we're going to do. Don't call the police yet. Morrison will have someone watching your house, watching for police activity. We need to move quietly." "How do we find her?" "Morrison said she's outside the city. That narrows it down. He'll have taken her somewhere he controls, somewhere secure. I have contacts who know Morrison's operations. Let me make some calls." While Clara worked, I called Paul Richmond. "I need legal advice. Can Morrison be charged with kidnapping based on a recorded phone call?" "If you can prove it was him on the call, yes, but proving it is hard. He's too smart to say anything explicitly incriminating. And without Melissa to confirm she's being held against her will, it's he," she said. "So we need to find her." "You need to find her. But Tom, be careful. If you go after Morrison directly, if you do anything illegal, you could end up in prison yourself." "I don't care." "You should. Melissa needs her father alive and free. Don't do anything stupid." But I was past caring about legal niceties. My daughter was being held prisoner by a criminal. The law had failed to protect her. It was up to me now. Clara called back 2 hours later. I found something. Morrison owns a property about 40 miles outside the city. An old farmhouse on 20 acres. It's registered under a shell company, but I traced it back to him. That's where I'd take someone I wanted hidden. How sure are you? 70%. It fits the profile. Isolated, secure, off the radar. If she's not there, I don't know where else she'd be. Send me the address. Tom, you can't go in there alone. Morrison will have guards. You'll get yourself killed. Then come with me. Bring whoever you need, but I'm going tonight. A long pause. Okay, give me 2 hours to put together a team. But we do this smart. We surveil first, confirm she's there, then we extract her. No cowboy stuff. Agreed. Clara showed up at my house with 2 other people. Both were ex-military, both looked like they could handle themselves. One was a woman in her 30s named Alex. The other was a man about my age named Frank. Alex does security consulting, Clara explained. Frank's a private investigator like me. They've both worked kidnapping cases before. Melissa's not kidnapped, Alex said. Not technically. Morrison's smart enough to make it look like she went willingly. So legally, we're just helping a worried father check on his adult daughter, if anyone asks. Will anyone ask? Not if we're careful. We drove out to the farmhouse in 2 cars. It was dark by the time we arrived, nearly midnight. The property was exactly as Clara described. An old 2-story farmhouse set back from the road, surrounded by empty fields. A single light burned in a downstairs window. We parked a 1/4 mile away and approached on foot. Frank had night vision goggles. He surveyed the property. 2 vehicles in the driveway, he whispered. Black SUV and a sedan. I see movement inside. At least 2 people, maybe 3. Any sign of Melissa? Can't tell from here. We need to get closer. We crept closer, using the tree line for cover. As we got within 50 yards, I could see through the windows. 2 men sitting in what looked like a living room, watching TV. No sign of Melissa. She might be upstairs, Alex said. Or in a basement, if there is one. How do we get in? We don't, not yet. We need to confirm she's here first. We waited. An hour passed, then another. My legs were cramping, my nerves were shot, but I stayed still. Finally, movement. One of the men stood up and walked toward the stairs. He climbed them, disappeared from view. 5 minutes later, he came back down carrying a tray, empty dishes. Someone's upstairs, Frank said, and they're being fed. That's got to be her. Now what? Now we call the police, Clara said. We tell them we have reason to believe Melissa Patterson is being held at this location against her will. They get a warrant, they raid the place. That'll take hours. Morrison said he'd call in 24 hours. If he finds out we went to the police, he won't find out. Not until it's too late. By the time he hears about the raid, Melissa will be in police custody. And if you're wrong, if she's not here, then we've wasted time and Morrison gets suspicious. But I don't think I'm wrong. I looked at the farmhouse, at the light in the upstairs window. My daughter was in there, so close. Every instinct screamed at me to just charge in, to hell with the consequences. But Clara was right. We needed to be smart. Okay, I said. Call the police. Detective Brennan responded personally. He brought a tactical team and got a judge out of bed to sign a warrant. By 4 a.m., they were in position. I wasn't allowed to be there for the actual raid. Brennan made me stay back with Clara and her team, a safe distance away. But we heard it over the police radio. Executing warrant. Moving in. Shouting. Police. Search warrant. Get on the ground. More shouting. Then silence. Building secure. We have 2 suspects in custody. Found the victim. She's alive and appears unharmed. I sagged with relief. Karen, who'd insisted on coming despite my protests, grabbed my hand and squeezed hard. They brought Melissa out 20 minutes later. She was wrapped in a blanket, flanked by female officers. When she saw us, she ran to us. We held her while she cried, while the police processed the scene, arrested the guards, secured evidence, while Brennan called in more units to search the property. How did you find me? Melissa asked. Your dad didn't give up, Karen said. He never gives up. Melissa looked at me, and I saw something in her eyes I hadn't seen in months. Trust, gratitude, love. Thank you, she whispered. Always, I said. I'll always fight for you. Detective Brennan approached. Mr. Patterson, I need to ask how you knew she was here. I'd prepared for this. I got a phone call, anonymous tip. Said Melissa might be at this address. I called you immediately. He studied me. He knew I was lying. But he also knew that what mattered was the result. Lucky tip, he said finally. Very lucky. We found evidence linking this property to Vincent Morrison. With this kidnapping charge, plus the drug charges against Tyler, we might finally have enough to bring Morrison down. Will it stick? I'm going to make damn sure it does. The sun was rising as we drove home. Melissa sat between Karen and me in the back seat, holding both our hands. I have to testify now, she said. After everything they did, I have to make sure they go to prison. Are you sure you're ready? I'm sure. They tried to scare me into silence. They tried to make me protect Tyler. I'm done protecting him. I'm done being a victim. 2 weeks later, Melissa testified. She told the jury everything. Tyler's abuse, his drug dealing, Vincent Morrison's involvement, the kidnapping. She was calm, clear, powerful. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. They found Tyler guilty on all counts. Drug trafficking, illegal weapons possession, domestic violence. 20 years in prison. Vincent Morrison's trial came 3 months later. The kidnapping charge, plus conspiracy to distribute drugs, plus a dozen other charges they'd built from evidence found at the farmhouse. He got 35 years. By the time both men were sentenced, spring had arrived, painting the city in soft greens and delicate blooms. Melissa had moved into her own apartment, a place she had chosen herself, bright and sunlit, with no traces of the past, no bruises, no shouting, no glass shattered on the floor. Each room felt like a small victory, each corner a testament to her survival. She had resumed therapy, attending sessions with a counselor who specialized in trauma recovery, and she was slowly learning how to reclaim her life. She had also reached out to Derek, not to reconcile, but to close old wounds and find peace. He had listened with quiet grace, accepting her apologies while recognizing the boundaries that now existed between them. Their marriage, fragile before, was truly over, but the healing conversations offered them both a measure of closure. One evening, Melissa came over for dinner. Just the three of us, Karen, Melissa, and me. Like old times, but better, lighter. She carried herself with a new confidence, a steadiness that told me she had survived the storm and learned to stand in the sunlight. I got a job, she announced between bites of salad, at the domestic violence shelter downtown. Peer counseling, helping other women who've been through what I went through. That's wonderful, Karen said, pride softening her voice. Melissa smiled faintly. I figure I can either let what happened destroy me, or I can use it to help others. I choose help. After dinner, she pulled me aside, a seriousness settling over her young face. Dad, I need to say something. What is it? When I was at that farmhouse, thinking I might never see you again, I realized something. You never gave up on me. Even when I pushed you away, even when I chose Tyler over you, even when I made every wrong choice possible, you kept fighting. You're my daughter. That's what fathers do, I said, voice soft but steady. No, she said firmly, her eyes glistening. It's what good fathers do. Not everyone has that. I'm sorry for everything I put you through. The lies, defending Tyler, shutting you out. You deserved better. You were in an impossible situation. You survived it. That's what matters. She stepped closer, her hand resting briefly on mine. I survived because of you, because you wouldn't let me disappear, because you fought Vincent Morrison himself to get me back. She hugged me, tight and unrelenting, and whispered, I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of that love. You already are, I said, holding her in that embrace. You always have been. We stood there for a long moment, father and daughter, survivors of a nightmare that tried to destroy us but ultimately made us stronger. Later that evening, as Karen and I prepared for bed, she looked at me with a mixture of exhaustion and relief. It's really over, isn't it? Yes, I said, letting the word hang in the quiet room. It's really over. Tyler's in prison. Vincent Morrison's in prison. Melissa's safe and healing. We did it. We did, Karen said, and there was no doubt in her voice. She smiled, recalling a detail that had stuck with her. You know what the neighbor said that day when she stopped you at Melissa's door? What? She said she called the police. But more than that, she spoke up. She didn't look the other way. She saw something wrong and did something about it. And? I think that's the lesson, Melissa said, joining us. We all have a choice when we see injustice. We can turn away, pretend it's not our business, or we can speak up, fight, refuse to let evil win. You chose to fight, for me, against men stronger than you. And you won. We won, I corrected. You fought just as hard, she said softly, smiling through tears. Yes, we did. She kissed me lightly on the cheek. I'm proud of us. Me too, I said. That night, sleep came easy. Peace settled over the house, a quiet that felt earned. Melissa's laughter filled her new apartment, no longer shadowed by fear. Tyler and Vincent Morrison would never harm her again. Justice had been served. Diane, the neighbor who had stepped forward when it mattered most, became a family friend. Her courage reminded us that even one person's voice can shift the balance between darkness and light. Evil thrives when good people do nothing. But when we fight, when we refuse to give up, when we act with courage and compassion, we can win. As I sat on the porch one warm spring evening, watching the sky turn pink and gold, I felt something I hadn't in years. Pure, untroubled peace. My daughter was safe. The men who hurt her were gone. My family was intact. Karen rested her hand on mine. "We've really done it, haven't we?" "Yes," I said. "We really have." And for the first time in a long while, I believed it. We had won.